Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us tonight on episode 4, season 7 of the Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live on Wednesdays on Facebook and YouTube throughout the season. Evening, Richie. Welcome back. It was another interesting round with several one-sided matches, including another strong Warriors win and a new try-score record holder in Alex Johnston. How are you, and what did you think of the round?
I'm good, Brad. Obviously I thought the round was good with the way we kicked off the round. Was fantastic seeing the Broncos get upset as well. And then right after our game, AJ breaking that try scoring record, it kind of keeps us flying under the radar a little bit, at least how we like it.
Yeah, definitely. Not a lot of talk about the Warriors over the ditch this week because of that record. But yeah, it was a good weekend. As you know, it was my birthday when the Warriors played, and in the first time in their history, they got a win on my birthday, so that made it a bit better, except for the weather and all the bloody horrible ponchos that were everywhere, which we'll talk about later in the news. But while we're here live on Wednesdays at 8 p.m, you can also catch a show at your convenience on iHeartRadio or Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything you need to know in the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of the round 2 matches. We'll then take a look at the ladder, our fantasy teams, and the tipping comp. We'll then answer some questions from you guys as well as questions we've prepared for each other. And then we'll preview round 3 and make our picks. So remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show, and we may as well jump straight into it, mate.
May as well.
All right, so Alex Johnston, he was the talk of the town. He broke the all-time try-scoring record after scoring a double versus the Roosters. Seeing the field invaded by countless fans was an incredible sight. You weren't here last week, but I spoke about it by myself, and I was more on the side of not letting them invade and letting Alex Johnston have the moment to himself. But it made for a hell of an image, so I was happy enough with what they did. It also appears that no one that invaded got fined. I think one guy got in trouble, but that's because he attacked a security guard member when he tried to get on. But yeah, I thought it was funny because there were signs all over the place saying don't invade the pitch. And then when everyone invaded, they had all the shots ready to show like how many people came on. The fact that the Australian Prime Minister was walking on there too, you know, it was all a G up and they were expecting it all along. But what do you think?
They're not going to stop it.
No.
I thought it was awesome. It was kind of throwback and old school. Remind me a little bit of watching old school rugby games, back when the provincial rugby was massive here and Ranfurly Shield, etc. And sometimes a big game would end and people would storm the field. It kind of threw me back to that. But to see it in this day and age, it's probably a record that's going to stand for quite a while. Probably our lifetimes. Very cool.
I don't know. Daniel Tupou's close. It depends how many more AJ scores. There are a couple of going, but it's not his last game. So the record, you would imagine he'll get a couple more and stick it up. And there's talks he wants to potentially go to the PNG team when it kicks up. So there's still chances for him to add to his tally. But I think they said it was 57 years?
Yeah.
Since so I don't think it's going to be that long, but it's not like I'm expecting the record to be broken next year. But it should be a few years away at least. Especially Daniel Tupou is the closest. You don't know how many more years he's going to play.
The way they're trying to turn the game nowadays to make it way more attacking, it probably, maybe in a couple of decades someone snags it.
Yeah, it's saying that as well. I was happy that the way the try was scored for the record breaker.
Great try
rather than just a blind overlap and he just like caught it and put it down type thing. Still counts, but it was fantastic. Me and the missus were at the Warriors game, obviously, and weather was bad. So she was kind of over it when she got home and wasn't interested in watching it. So I was up here watching on my little phone and I had to run down the stairs to show her, like rewind it and show her the crowd because she's never seen anything like that. But yeah, congrats to Alex Johnson. The Rabbitohs also revealed this week a statue of him outside of their HQ. Apparently, the people that built it like 3 years ago because they've been waiting for this to happen. But did you see what it looked like?
Yeah, not too bad. I've seen
not
worse.
Too bad. I've definitely seen worse. And I only got to see the little clips, but he had a funny thing that he said in it where he said, for years, fans have shit on him, and now pigeons can too. So I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, fully proud that he managed to get it, and to get it against the Roosters as well. Of all teams, is probably what the Rabbitohs wanted the most of all. But yeah, next bit of news was Mitch Barnett. We talked about it, or I talked about it briefly. He's going to the Broncos. It appears to be a done deal. But there's been no official announcement from the club yet. I think there's still conversations behind closed doors about what player they're going to try to trick to come to New Zealand to get the deal done. But yeah, you weren't here last week. Broncos are your number 2 team. What was your thoughts about him jumping to your second favourite team?
No, not a fan of that news at all. Not in the slightest, but it is what it is. He's wanted to get out of here for family reasons, which you understand. But yeah, that's not the place I'd like to have seen him go. Maybe back to Newcastle would have been more on a purely selfish level. But
yeah.
Maybe he wants to win, and that's a heck of a team he gets to go to.
Yeah, because I saw a lot of people were, and some would say rightly so, criticizing him because he's gone to Brisbane, when his family's not from there, but his wife's family is, I think, an hour out of Brisbane, which makes that the reason why they'd go. But yeah, hope he goes well. I'm very happy. As long as it wasn't the Dragons, I didn't really care, mate. So it is what it is. But we'll move on to the next one. You weren't here for it last week either. The International Rugby League Board has approved Kalyn Ponga's switch to New Zealand. So he's now officially ready to go for the Kiwis if they want him. You happy with that decision?
I'm extremely happy with it as long as he can stay uninjured enough for us to get a look at using him in our squad. We've seen the opening 2 rounds. He's been in some sensational form. He was looking great again on the weekend up until he got injured. So it's exciting, but at the same time, he's had his troubles being available for rep games, and that's my only fear is that'd be the case.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait it out. It's the waiting game to see. I think form-wise, if he can stay healthy, form-wise, he'll be a shoo-in to make the squad. It's just if he can stay healthy. And Mark Roberts is here as well and said Ponga playing as a 14 for the Kiwis, maybe. Yeah, it's a possibility because he's great, but I don't want to see Keno Kinney. It makes it feel like the Sonny Bill Tohu Harris situation, where Tohu got dumped out because Sonny decided he wanted to play in the World Cup. I don't want to see Kinney get dumped out of fullback just because Ponga's jumped ship. But yeah, we'll see. They'll have a plan. They've got a year almost, or most of a year to think about what they're going to do. So we'll see. And I talked about it last week, mate. The Bears were interested in Murata Niokore. He's actually now been linked to Newcastle, and apparently he's very close to signing on the dotted line for them for 2027. I think that'd be a good pickup for the Knights, give them a bit of starch in their forward pack. And
definitely a good suit for them.
Yeah, he's
a bit of what they need.
Yeah, and he's surplus to requirements at the Warriors, unfortunately for him. So apparently the Warriors said they weren't really that keen on negotiating right now. So if he found another club, he was welcome to go.
Well, the thing is, the coin he's on, right?
Yeah.
He's one of our higher paid players. And if we've got all the young bucks doing the same kind of job,
You don't want to, you
business-wise.
don't want to re-sign a Murata and end up losing a Laban or a Halassim or a Dimitrik, or even like Eddie Iremia Toava is probably the one, because he's kind of still on the fringe. And Jacko said Knights didn't want Barnett, but they wanted Nakora. Yeah, I think it's just mainly, I think Barnett was probably going to cost them too much. But yeah, we'll see. And next one, mate, after plenty of criticism from NRL coaches and Gus Gould about the increased 6 agains, Peter V'landys came out and spoke about it and said the coaches need to take accountability for the poor discipline, and the old days of slowing the ruck down are done. We'll see how long that lasts. At the moment, the way they're doing the rules, it actually suits the Warriors. We're kind of used to having to jump off tackles really quick because we get pinged early. So we're already adjusted to it. And the quick play the balls and that they get off the 6 agains seems to be really good at giving the Warriors some momentum. So I'm hoping the longer this rule actually sticks around, the better it is for the Warriors' hopes. But I think enough noise from the top teams, if they, like the Broncos keep losing the way they are, I think you'll see it slowly change back, because V'landys doesn't like sticking to his word too much. He'll change it when it suits him. But what do you think about the increased 6 agains? You haven't really been on to talk about it.
I think you're right. I think we've got obviously the way Wade Egan plays with his ruck deception, and then we've got middles that find their front. Fisher Harris, Jacko Ford, Aaron Clark, all masters of it. So the roll-on effect we get gives us some 6 agains and sees us dominating through that middle on evidence of what we've seen the first 2 weeks so far. So I hope that's the way it continues. It's kind of worked in our favor, but yeah, I can see the opposite side of the coin too, where it's the momentum swings have been real killers for some teams. We've seen it in games we've played in too, against the Raiders, but these teams have to look after their own discipline at the same time. Roosters was the same, they were just giving away so many dumb 6 agains and penalties that were legitimate.
Yeah. I think it's, again, we're coming in 2-0, so we haven't been on the bad end of it yet, where we get like 6 again out of a game. So I assume my opinion will change a lot if or when that happens. But it feels like the teams that they were told about this before the season started. So the teams that adjusted and the coaching staff that worked on it more are the ones that are benefiting right now. So yeah, it's just another tip of the hat to the coaching staff. But
there are other rules that have been brought in that'll weird me out way more than what's been going on with the 6 against.
Yeah, definitely. I still don't understand the tap back thing. I'm trying to learn. Thing
gets me. How pointless is that?
Yeah,
it's just annoying. Why is that a thing?
Yeah, and Mark said the others just need to stop being lazy in the ruck then. Yeah, a lot of them, like the Raiders weren't as bad, but because I got to go to both games and see it in person, obviously the Roosters game, that was blatant, and there were between 8 and 12 more occasions that they probably could have got pinged for 6 agains and they didn't, because they were just deliberately laying down in the ruck and being nuisances around it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But speaking of Gus Gould, mate, there was a lot of noise over the weekend. I'm sure you heard it, that Bronson Cherry had demanded a release from the Bulldogs. Apparently not a happy chappy that he was being dropped to reserve grade. Gould came out and rubbished the rumours, said he was going to go talk to Cherry and his manager and it'll be fine. Bulldogs coach Cam Serraldo came out, I think it was today, or it might have been yesterday, around team naming, and said he's challenged Cherry to get his attitude right and force his way back into first grade. So at the moment, it all seems to be like he's just going to bide his time in New South Wales Cup. But when there's smoke, there's usually fire, especially nowadays when players kind of expect to be a starter. And if they're not a starter, they want to get out. I was talking to a guy at work today about it because he was like, he's a great player. He should be starting. It's like you earn a top 30 contract. It's not a top 13 contract. So you are guaranteed a spot in the 30, and that's all you're guaranteed with the money that you get paid. It's up to you to decide where you go. And yeah, so it looks like Tuala is the one that's impressing the coaches, I guess, and got the nod. And Jagger said Cherry would be a great pickup for us, but no noise about it. He would be, but unfortunately for him, Webby's got a no dickhead rule. And I feel Cherry's got a bit of that dickhead in him, I guess. And yeah, Mark said apparently he didn't like being moved to the weaker centre side, and that's what it was all over. Yeah, he didn't like. Yeah, he didn't like that his captain was in the spot that he wanted to be. And I think Crichton's going to go wherever he decides to want to go because he's captain. And yeah, you're a back. You were in a centre though, but do you feel like left or right's that different for you? I'm a prop, so it's all the same to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely.
If pass better one way.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. If you've got a skill set that lends better to going one way, some players have enough skill that it doesn't matter as much, but some players definitely like to step in and pass a certain way, or they do it a lot better a certain way.
Yeah. If Pompey can play both sides, anyone can. So I don't see the deal. But yeah, we'll see if there's any noise that builds off this. If he's stuck in New South Wales for another couple of weeks. But next one was another Philandy story. David Riccio said that Peter V'landys is considering expanding finals to a 10-team comp, or 10-team playoff system, sorry. He's rubbished that idea in the past, but with the comp potentially moving up to 20 teams, he's looking at it again. The article was behind a paywall, so I didn't get to see the details, so all I know is that it's going to 10. I'm not that fan. I don't care that there's 20 teams. I think keep your 8. It makes more of a fight, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, half your competition, even now or almost now, half your team make finals. So at the moment, the NRL's been competitive enough where the 8th team is actually still competing quite well. But yeah, I feel like keeping it as 8 would be better.
That's the sweet spot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a ploy to get the Tigers into more finals, mate. If you're sitting in 9th, you're home and host. But yeah, it's more about the money you get. You'll have a few extra finals games on television.
Yeah.
But yeah,
of course.
We've got a couple of years before we even get to 20 teams, so we can wait. Another one that came out just recently, Matt, like half an hour ago. There's rumours that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is in talks with several teams in Sydney looking for a 2-year deal. It was on the Daily Telegraph. So I don't know what the situation is with the Warriors. There's, been a lot of talk. They got AKP. Will Warbrick's potentially a target, even though Webster's kind of come out and said no? It's all leading. We kind of thought Roger might go off and make the squillions a yen in Japan to finish his career off, but it looks like he wants to stick around the NRL. And if he's already talking to other teams, that could be potentially that he's had a shoulder tap from the Warriors saying maybe. I'm just all speculating here because I'd imagine if he was interested and they wanted to keep him, the deal would already be getting done.
I hadn't read that one yet, but
that was breaking. I was sitting here waiting for you to jump on when it popped up.
Well, the way he's playing, not a fan of that. The way to piss me off, Brad.
I'm not making the decision. And yeah, Jacko's also made a good point as well. Mellors is looking like a first grader next year. Yeah, Mellors has been looking good in reserve grade.
He did some good stuff on the weekend. He looked good in the air.
Yeah, it could be like another Murata situation where you might think that you've got guys that can do the same for less money. I don't know. If Roger wants to keep playing, I'm happy to keep him on. but I'm not making the decisions. I guess it's more if he's looking at big money to stick around, that might be the sticking point. But yeah, we'll just wait and see. I could see him ending up at the Roosters again, finishing his career off where it started. They're going to lose Marky Mark and that, so it would make sense. That's all speculation on my part, though, from the 3 sentences I got before it went behind a paywall. Last bit of news, mate. You would have seen it watching on TV. V do their poncho promotions. They I was going to grab it. I've got mine downstairs. So they were giving out free ponchos because the weather was coming, and I said it to the missus, and then I saw it was popping up on social media. It's just horrible to see all these bright green ponchos when we're playing the Raiders. So it makes it look like a Raiders game. Mrs. put her poncho on. I refused. I was like, I'm not wearing the green while we're playing the Raiders. I'll just get wet. But after all the complaints and all the noise, one, it's been a hell of a promotion for V because everyone's talking about V now. But two, V have promised they're going to rethink the poncho color for their promotions at Go Media Stadium.
Blue V.
Yeah, there's blue V. I don't know why they don't have blue ponchos for the Warriors, but yeah, we'll see. What did it look like on TV for you?
Like Raiders, like pockets of Raiders supporters
everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. At least they weren't charging you for them; they were giving them out for free. But yeah, yeah, interesting times. It was a weird choice by the V marketing team, or a smart one, depending on which angle you want to take. We'll go to signings, mate. There's only one signing and 2 extensions. So the Bears have signed Leeds prop Mikolaj Oledeski on a 3-year deal. All I know about him is from Rugby League 26 because he ended up in my what's that card team that you get?
Pro team. Is it
the pro team? Yeah, he ended up in my pro team, so I had him in there. Good signing. They need some youngins, and he seems like a solid enough prop. I still have confidence that Super League forwards can kind of make it in the NRL a lot better than the backs. So I'm happy enough with that signing for the Bears. They've still got a lot of slots they need to fill. So, and do you know anything of him?
Not enough to form an opinion, no, but they've got a roster to fill.
Yeah.
So they've got to be signing people.
And then the extensions, the West Tigers have extended Adam Dwayhe until the end of 2029, and Cowboys have extended Tom McCarley until the end of 2028. I think they're both no-brainer signings. Especially
he's a good one, the way he's playing. And your pronunciation was very good, Brad. Well done.
That reminds me. I was meant to practice and remember one for the Knights team, and I'm going to balls it up now because I didn't do it.
No.
It's all right. It's not a rugby league podcast if there isn't a white guy on there butchering names. So we've got to keep up with the shtick. We'll go into injuries, mate. There's quite a few. I managed to eliminate a few because some of them are playing this week. But the big two, obviously, were Kalen Ponga, 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury, and Dylan Brown, MCL strain, out for a month. Mark said the Wires have extended Maso Tiatia till 2029. Yeah. He's one of the young boys.
Say that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great to see us keeping some of the young talent. So, yeah, Knights, mate, losing their 2 big names in one foul swoop. Felt terrible for both of them, but also in the back of my mind, it's like, yeah, boy, we're playing them this week. That will won't make it easier as such because those are usually the banana peel games for Warriors of years past, mate. But it definitely takes some sting out. But, yeah, massive loss for the Knights after what has been a pretty successful start to 2026.
Yeah, I felt for them at first, but they can cry into their millions. It's good for us.
Yeah, and Jagger said Knights were about 30% of their cap out. I think that's underselling it. I think there's probably more closer to like 45, even 50,
Yeah.
mate. They go all their money on those guys. But then Adam Reynolds, rib injury, he is named to play this week. He's going to fight through it, probably because Gordon Tallis was ripping him on the media all week about how he needs to focus on getting those ribs repaired instead of going on TV. Taylor May from the Tigers did his shoulder. He is looking at a round 8 return. Disappointing for them. He kind of hit the ground running since he joined them. And was playing all right this year too. And then Warriors, we've got a couple, mate. Kurt Capewell did his calf in the warm-up. Round 6, they've said. Round 6 return is penciled in for him. Round 6 be important round, mate. That's when Metcalf's meant to be back too. And then Chance, Nickel Klubster, and Chanel Harris-Tavita both failed HIAs, 11-day stand-downs. I thought Chance was okay, but apparently not. Big outs for the Warriors. They seem to do okay without them in the week past, but it is what it is. And then we had 2 more failed HIAs, mate. Jack Cogger from the Panthers and Jack Gowiski from the Broncos.
His was coming. He's had a few head knocks this year and
HIAs
already.
So yeah, nothing too major for the Warriors. I think we can cover it. We'll talk about it in team naming. And yeah, Jacko said round 6 a Storm game. Yeah.
And that's away, isn't it?
It is away.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Melbourne don't play over here, mate.
True.
But yeah, so it'd be good to have all of them back for that game, depending on how we go. I was talking, my teammate, she's a Storm fan. I was talking about looking at the draws, saying there is a possibility, touching wood, that both teams stay undefeated until round 6 and play each other, and there must only be one. But there are some tricky games for both sides before that, so we'll see. Naughty Boy Corner, mate.
Yep.
Yeah. No bans, but there were 10 players fined. We're not going to run through the fines. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so no bans at least. So we'll move on to round 2, mate. Nice. Thank goodness you're here to stop me butchering the names of the try scorers. Kicking off on Thursday, mate, the Eels defeating the Broncos 40-32.
How good. I can't promise I won't butcher it, a couple. But for the Broncos, the try scorers were Reece Walsh had a couple of bangers. Tony Staggs had 2 as well, and Payne Haas, he was the other one for the Eels. Kalma Tuilangi was rampaging out on his edge. He had 2. Riley Smith, Isaiah Yongi, he had 2 as well. Sean Russell and Jonah Pezza against his future team.
Yeah, sealed the win against the team he's going to in a couple of months. Yeah, it was a good performance from Parramatta here after last week's humbling defeat. I came into this match not expecting much. I expected this to be the game that the Broncos kind of just said we scored no points last week because we were saving them all for this week. But yeah, their pack generated solid go forward to lay the platform. I think they're still doing the right things when they bring Dylan Walker on. Which really helps because of that roll forward from the forwards. The Haas were able to control the tempo well and repeatedly created spaces on the edges, which is why you saw guys like Tuolangi kind of blossom. They need to tighten up that D a bit, but as the weeks go, I think it was an impressive bounce back.
Yeah, agreed. They had to endure a lot of pressure early. The Broncos started fast. One stage, I think they were 20-6 down, I think, if I remember right, and had hardly touched the ball. But somehow, once they started getting to the ball, every time they got a set, they seemed to score. Kalmatuilangi, Isaiah Yongi, those 2 in particular are very dangerous. I think they were giving the Broncos left-hand defense some nightmares there. In the end, they got their upset and left the home crowd scratching their heads. A couple of weeks, Suncorp now, the Premier's not been good for them.
Yeah, And your thoughts on the Broncos?
Fantastic attack early on, and like Reece Walsh had, like I said, he had a couple of bangers. Very typical Reece Walsh kind of game. You know, a couple of moments like that probably only he can come up with, and then errors and defensive issues. So that was kind of the story of the night for the Broncos. You know, they started well, but their defense just was all out at sea. I'm not too sure what it was, but they just couldn't. Once the Eels got momentum, they couldn't hold them back.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jacko said as well, Walsh is real rocks and diamonds right now. He always kind of is. You know, you're going to get amazing games out of him at times, and then other games, he's going to look horrible. It's just what happens, unfortunately, with a player like that. You ride the ups and downs with him. But yeah, Broncos led most of the attack stats in this and looked good when the ball stuck, but that was their issue. They just couldn't get the ball to stick. Too many errors, and defensively they were woeful, allowing the Eels too much space around the ruck and on the edges. Very talented side, but they've got plenty of work to do to get back to that side that dominated the back end of 2025. I'm still not writing them off. We saw what they did last year with, 10 weeks to go. They went on that massive run. We even saw the Panthers start. How many? It was like they lost like the first 4 or 5, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think last
like
year. And admittedly, they didn't go all the way, but they still managed to make finals. But yeah, a lot of work to do with the Broncos. Payne Haas top fantasy was 75 points, but who was your player to stand out?
I mean, Tuilangi, yeah, I just thought he created a lot of spark out there on the Eels' right edge. Was a provider of a lot of points, on a couple of tries, and yeah, I think he was one in particular that's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, he was playing well. I went with Isaiah Yongi, the other man who got the double. I was a big fan of him last year, and he was up and down, but he seems to slowly be building a bit more consistency in his game. And when you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. So it's good to see him still firing attacking wise. So solid outfit for the Eels, and they could be a bit tricky for some teams. Next game, Friday, the main game we like to talk about, mate. Warriors defeating the Raiders 40-6.
Yeah, nice. For the Wars, 2 tries to Dallin. We had the intercept for Ali Leotawa. Lika Halasima had his double. Jacko Ford, our Dalian leader, he had one. And Tanner Boyd, probably he's the most unlucky in the Dalian race. Jacko Ford's taking all the points. But that was our try scorers. And just the one for the Raiders early on to Kyo Weeks.
Oh, mate, when they scored that 4 minutes in, I was terrified.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm talking about the winners first, the Warriors. What a massive performance from the Warriors here. I was expecting a real grind, and it looked that way in the first half. But after the break, Warriors swung momentum their way and never looked back. They converted most of their opportunities and were strong on defense, driving the Raiders back and keeping them on the back foot. Still early days, but the Warriors look like a team most sides won't want to face. I think there was, Jacko said he's in shock. He didn't think that score would eventuate. I'm not going to claim this thing, but it was bloke in a bar. They were talking about it. Dallin dropped the ball just before halftime, and the Raiders had like 2 minutes on the Warriors goal line, and the Warriors just tackle after tackle wouldn't let them in. And Dean and Kemp said on Broken and Bar, he felt like that was where the game was won, that 2-minute window where the Warriors refused to quit. He said going into the sheds, they would have been confident going, we made a mistake, but we were able to stop them. And the Raiders would have gone in going, oh, shit, what do we do to actually get through this? It was so easy scoring at the beginning of the half. But yeah, it was fantastic display. I feel for Webby because in a couple of weeks, mate, Luke Metcalf's going to be back, and depending how those weeks go, Tanner Boyd might be the best 7 in the club at the moment. If he can keep doing what he's doing, it's only 2 games. He could completely shit the bed the next couple of weeks, and then we're like, please just give us Metcalf. But it's a great problem. You'd rather have a problem going, shit, how do I fit everyone in, as opposed to, man, I wish we just had some players that could play. But yeah, your thoughts on the Warriors?
Definitely a trying start to the match. We had to put up with all the Raiders had to throw at us. It was definitely a arm wrestle. But as you said, our effort on defense, our first up tackles, and when it was called upon, our scramble, the goal line D was all top notch. Other than that KOX try, pretty much, I feel like we outlasted them and begin to outmuscle them. Again, our middle, giving the armchair ride to Tanner Boyd. Our middles have been so good the first couple of weeks. And yeah, for the second week running, it's hard to pick somebody who didn't play well, and it all results in the scoreline that we saw, which is very, very satisfying. You got to temper your expectations and not get too carried away, but it's a good feeling.
Yeah, and Jacko said our goal line D was awesome. Yeah, it was. And full credit as well to the 14th man, which was the weather, because there was a couple of times the Raiders made breaks that looked like they were going to set up scores, and then they just slipped and fell over. A couple of our tries came because they slipped in defense as well because of the poor conditions. Got to remember, when you come into Auckland, you got to bring the bricks because you never know what weather you're going to get. But yeah, your thoughts on the Raiders?
I felt like they tried their hearts out. Maybe a little bit of a hangover from the previous week, the Golden Point grind they had with Manly. And I definitely think they gave their all, but probably just ran out of steam, and their discipline as well at times let them down a little bit. I did see enough grit from them in that first half, though, to suggest to me that I think they'll be a tough team to beat again this year.
Yeah, it was a tough night for the Raiders. They looked dangerous at times, but the errors and discipline just let them down. And the young halves, I think, struggled to dig their side out of the hole. They were due to being on the back foot. With it felt, especially in the second half, every time they did a hit up, the Warriors would drive them backwards. And then your halves can't do anything off that. So, tough night at the office for them, but I expect them to fight back. I don't see this as like doom and gloom for them. Just beat them by a better team on the night, I think, is as simple as that. And Tanner Boyd getting no love from the Dally M's, but he got top point scorer in fantasy with 76. Who did you pick?
I went with Lecker, actually. I thought there was a lot asked of him having to step up to start on short notice, but he did a really great job. He looked dangerous. The way I look at him now, he's like it's like having another winger out there, another finisher, because you almost expect to try a game out of him almost. He's the way he's going. So he's still very raw and a lot to work on, but I thought he's very good on the weekend.
Yeah. And Amantis has said without those forwards, especially forward for his long minutes, Boyd wouldn't have the space and time to execute his awesome plays. 100% agree, but that's why the team's working so well, because the forwards are doing their job, which is allowing the halves and then the backs to do theirs. You all got to work together. So as long as the forwards keep doing what they do, the Warriors should be doing quite well. That does flow into my player, because I went with Jackson Ford. Man, I still have nightmares of when I came on here and openly mocked this signing about some no-name from the Dragons. What the hell are we doing with this useless guy that can't even get a decent gig at the Dragons? And he's done nothing but impress me since he joined the club. And the biggest issue he had, I think I said it in my review this week, the biggest issue he's always had is you're going to get a hell of an effort out of him. but you're also going to get errors and penalties as well. The penalties and errors have just dropped off massively. Touch wood. But yeah, they've dropped off massively. And that was the only thing holding them back. I know I've seen some people talk about, he could be a darkie for New South Wales. I don't see that happening. No disrespect for him, but it's the first year Adam Fanua-Blake's going to be allowed to play. So if they're going to bring a prop in, it's going to be Adam. But yeah, that means we get to keep him with us, which I'd prefer anyway. Jacko just said, yeah, he could be a bolter for Origin. You never know. Judging by the interview I saw with the New South Wales coach today, he doesn't rate us at all. So I don't think he's even looking.
They're pretty blessed in the front row too. You'd have to go pretty deep. Payne Haas, Fanua-Blake, like you said, Mitch Barnett if fit, Stefano Tukumanu, Spencer Leniu.
I think the only one he would take a spot off would be Max King. I think he's better than Max King.
Yeah.
But I don't see, you just named more than they need. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, fantastic effort from him. He's just he just keeps going and going and going.
I just assumed he's New South Welshman. He is, isn't he?
He is, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, Amanda said Ford is what the current that suits the new 6 again era.
Definitely a meta front rower.
Yeah, because I know everyone's been talking about that over the ditch, going, he's not big. We've seen him. I've stood next to him. He ain't little. He is actually bigger in height and width than Adam Fanua-Blake. Crazy to believe. It's just Adam Fanua-Blake is heavier, because it's all in the thighs, mate. But he's still big. But yeah, he's not that traditional prop. But then the traditional prop of the old days is kind of dying. It's a dying breed now because
fitness and leg speed.
Yeah, it's all
mobility. You got to be mobile.
Yeah, it's why I had to hang up the boots, mate. The big fatty in the corner doesn't work no more. But yeah, fantastic from the Warriors. Long may it continue. Keep wanting to enjoy. I enjoy being surprised. I thought they'd lose round 1. I predicted them to win round 2, but I was surprised by the score. So if they keep surprising me in a nice way, I'll be a happy man. Next game on Friday, mate. The big game that everyone talked about. Roosters beating the Rabbits 26-18.
Yep. 4 tries to 3, but there were 2 that really mattered here. So for the Roosters, Daly Cherry Evans, Daniel Tupou, Mark Nawanga Nitawase, and Teddy was the other one. For the Rabbits, Campbell Graham and the record breakers for AJ, Alex Johnston.
Yeah, this one was a bit harder to take notes because I watched the first half in the car on the way home from the Warriors game. Thankfully, got home before the record-breaking try, which was good. But yeah, the Roosters controlled key moments in the match. They were more disciplined and better defensively than they were the week before, and their attack was pretty composed. They took advantage of their opportunities when they came and managed the game well. When South applied pressure, their ability to keep that structure and capitalize on it proved the difference in a competitive contest. I always had the feeling when they stopped the game because of the celebration that the moment would be what affected the Rabbits, and the Roosters would be like, there's no way we're walking away letting them beat us and get that record. So I think their head was in the game a bit more after the celebration than the Rabbits. But yeah, your thoughts on the Roosters?
I thought it was a good bout.
So I said, watching it around driving sounds like a very dangerous thing to do and should not be advised. It was my birthday and my partner drove us so I could drink.
There you go.
So I was passenger. Yes, when a Friday night game, if I'm driving, I sit in the car park and watch the first half on my phone because then I get to avoid the traffic. But yeah, passenger. I wasn't watching and driving. But yeah, your thoughts on the Roosters?
I thought it was a good bounce back game from them. DCE, I thought bounced back well. He was in for a bit of criticism during the week, but he had some nice moments there with a try. He set up the last try as well, and all the usual guns providing enough spark to overcome the occasion. You know, their X factors, their Teddies, Marky Marks, etc. Yeah, they had enough to get one over the old rival.
And your thoughts on Souths?
Massive moment for Alex Johnson to break the try scoring record. First of all, I don't know if it was a bit of a distraction for the Bunnies, you know, with all the fans running onto the field and stopping the game. Wayne Bennett probably has his thoughts on that. He didn't seem too happy about it.
He wasn't happy at all.
He wasn't happy. He's showing his age, a bit of grumpiness. Yeah, they had their moments, but yeah, I feel like they didn't reach the heights they did the week before. And yeah, that is what it is. You're right, Brad. You tired, mate?
No, mate.
Am I boring you?
You just your voice just sends me to sleep, mate. Apologies. Yeah. So that what you were talking about, Souths, weren't you? So
That was.
You finished
really
now.
You dialed in.
It's because Paul's not here, and Paul does all the stuff on the side, so I'm getting distracted by comments. South Sydney showed flashes of strong attacking play, but just struggled to sustain pressure long enough to take control of the match. Defensive lapses at crucial times allowed the Roosters to sneak back ahead, improving their defence consistency and executing key moments will be important moving forward. But it felt like the night was all about AJ's record, so at least they got that. I felt, it was like they had their halftime break, they played 10 minutes, had another 20-minute break, and then had to go back. And yeah, I feel like it's just a bit too much. You kind of see it. We've only really seen it when they had the games paused for like thunder, and then it feels like the game's a bit disheveled afterwards. But yeah, I don't think any Rabbitohs fan or player, for that matter, went home disappointed after it because they were all just on a AJ high. Daly Cherry Evans, he top scored 59 points. I think I didn't talk about it. I feel like he's taken, in this round, he took more control of the team as opposed to playing second fiddle like he did in Auckland, which may have helped them a bit more too. But who'd you pick? I think we picked the same guy.
Man, it wouldn't be right if we didn't pick Alex Johnston, right?
Yeah.
You have to go with him.
He didn't. I saw some people say he didn't do much. He did okay.
He broke the bloody record. That's all that matters.
Take the try scoring out of it, but like he was still doing the hard yards. I thought let's get a hat trick and just extend it a bit more. Do a hat trick and see everyone run on again. But I went with him too. I thought it'd be rude not to on such a big occasion that, breaking a record that was set before we were even born, man. And yeah, Simon said, yes, even the Prime Minister who broke the rules with the other fans. I'm guessing that, you missed it when we were talking about it. No one got a fine. One guy got arrested because he attacked a security guard. But that's it. And I thought, before we move on, I thought they actually did well. They kind of all ran on there for a bit, and then they all got off. It was still 20 minutes, but it wasn't like they were really struggling to get everyone off the field. So, because I thought when that happened, it's like, shit, we're not going to get the rest of the game now. But yeah, fantastic for Alex. Just not their night, performance-wise. First game on Saturday, mate. Another big one. West Tigers defeating the Cowboys 44-16.
Yep, a bit of work on my hands here. West Tigers, Samuel Afainu, Adam Dwayhe, Kai Pearce-Paul had 2. Luke Laulili, Jerome Luai. Luke Laulili had a second, and Jarrell Skelton, he was the other one. For the Cowboys, Braden Burns, Jackson Purdue, and Tom Chester.
Yeah, geez, Kai Paul's loving being a Tiger, isn't he? He looks so much happier than he did when he was in Newcastle. But yeah, the Tigers delivered one of the most impressive attacking performances of the round, almost scoring at will through fast-paced and strong support play. I feel like they grow another league when they're playing at Leichhardt, as it is. The forwards laid on a big platform, Terrell May and the likes, just doing all the hard work at the front. That allowed the spine to play with confidence, and I thought Dwayne and Luai really combined well in this game. They were clicking, and once they gained momentum, they just kept the pressure on and finished their chances well. Tigers could be another team to make waves in 2026. As Jacko said, Tigers look good. They've recruited well, and they seem to be on Benji's bus. Yeah, they're playing Benji ball a bit more, and they're loving it. I guess we just got to wait and see how it goes for them when things go against them, like how they fight the adversity. That's the negative side of me, going like, okay, when everything's running downhill, how's it going? And then when you go to run uphill, will you do it? But yeah, I think as long as they can keep Dwayne healthy, I think they're going to be competitive every week. I think he is really the difference. But your thoughts on the Tigers?
Ideal way to kick off the season in front of a big crowd at home for the Tigers, and then they put on a show. But right off the bat, they look really sharp, dangerous on attack. Bit of copy and paste about what you were talking about. I thought they were really well led by their halves, and I think having Adam Dwayne in there at 7, I think it really suits the way they play. Luai at 6, kind of back to what he did best at the Panthers off of Cleary, the off the cuff kind of stuff. He can get the ball, chop infield, but he's got the ball playing. But he looked in his element there, and yeah, the whole team just fed off it, and yeah, it was they look good. But you wonder how much of it is how bad the Cowboys were at the same time.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what do you think of the Cowboys?
Yeah, really poor again. I'm almost regretting not putting them as my wooden spoon prediction. Watching the way they're playing, the team chemistry, it's almost a bit like they're not on the same page. Or either they're lost for ideas or not all on the same page. Defensively, clearly not good, but that's always sort of been a work on for them the past couple of years. Not good signs, and tough times for poor Toddy Payton. He's on the block a bit, I think.
Yeah, Cowboys struggled defensively, particularly on the edges where the Tigers found plenty of space. Missed tackles and just no communication in the defensive line allowed the Tigers to turn half chances into tries. Cowboys just need to tighten up the defensive structures and improve the ball control to avoid giving opposition easy opportunities. They showed it like that little space where they scored those 3 tries. They know how to attack when they want to. They can't. It's just they can't defend. And Peyton's on thin ice, and the team's not doing him any favors. It feels like it feels like he doesn't have the locker room. I know that's the cliche thing you say, but we were all kind of talking about that 2026. They probably should have started 2026 with a new coach, because we all had the feeling that in a couple of months he's going to be gone, and then you're starting. Amanda said, to think I wanted Peyton to come back when we had a bad batch in 24, and Webby we trust. Yeah. No, I was very sad when Peyton left us, but I would never get him back, because I just love Webby. There's ups and downs with Webby, but I think Webby is the right guy for the Warriors. Peyton, he had the Cowboys humming when he first got there, but for whatever reason, it just stopped working. Didn't help that he let some of his big names walk away. Which didn't really happen. help them out too much. But Adam Dwayhe topped fantasy, mate, 82 points. Who'd you go with?
I would have been happy going with either of the halves, but I went Luai. Yeah,
he played well, and he's not doing a cherry and complaining about being moved from 7 to 6 when he went there as a 7. He's teamwork makes the dream work, so he's happy to move into 6 where he is better suited anyway. I went with Dwayhe. Just thought it was a near my masterclass from the guy. He was just involved in everything, kicking well. He's a very talented player when he can stay healthy. So as long as he stays healthy, I think the Tigers are on to a winner. Next game on Saturday, Storm defeating the Dragons 46-20.
Yep, for the Dragons, Christian Tuipulotu, the money man, Valentine Holmes had 2, and Clint Gutherson. For the Storm, Will Warbrick, Jack Howarth, Harry Grant, Sua Falongo had 3, Jerome Hughes and Moses Leo scored a banger right at full time.
Mate, he saved me. I had a same game multi on this game, and I was watching it. It was just try scorers. I had Will Warbrick to score, Harry Grant to score, Falongo to score, Jerome Hughes to score, and Moses Leo to score. So they all ticked off. It was like, oh my God. And then it was like, we're not going to get it because Moses hasn't even looked like scoring. And then, that last minute he got the ball. And I was jumping around the house cheering him on to score. Mrs. thought I was a lunatic. But very happy. The only multi that bloody came off for me this week. But I was happy. We got a lot of change back, man. So I was happy with it. But another strong Storm performance. Sorry, gamble responsibly.
Always gamble responsibly.
Paul's not here to remind me. I've got a problem. Another strong performance here from the Storm with not much to add from what I said last week. They did have a few issues defensively early on, but after Falongo took control of the match, the Storm found another level and cruised away. Very solid team efforts, especially from the young forwards that, had to be leaned on because of like Katoa's injury. Chan and Lasati, I think, are doing well replacing Katoa and War. But they still appear to be one of the teams to beat this season. I think it was hard to point a fault, bar the fact that they allowed the Dragons to score 4 tries. I think it was, just great performance from the Storm. What were your thoughts on the Storm?
Yeah, I'm loving a bit of Lasati. He's doing wonders for my fantasy. It was a good win. They had a fight on their hands for big periods of the game, though. I felt like in the last 20, their young gun Sua Falongo, he flicked the switch, scored a quick hat trick, and took the game away from the Dragons. That's some premium footwork he has, like top shelf footwork. The Goosey on, I can't remember if it was his first or second try, was just filthy. I guess that's one thing with Pappy retiring. They've got someone on their hands who's probably got a bit more attacking wise than Pappy. He's probably obviously young and raw, but he showed what he can do there. He's got. I think he's a man that's going to have plenty of tries and doubles and threes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, he's hell of a talent. Your thoughts on the Dragons?
Not bad for the first 60 of the game. I feel like they were definitely in the game up till that point. They were managing to go toe for toe with the Storm and give them plenty of trouble, but I think just accuracy in a couple of key moments, a couple of errors, which turned the momentum, allowing Sua and the Storm to do what they did towards the end of the game. The Dragons just couldn't halt the momentum after that.
Yeah, and Jacko said, before I talk about the Dragons, I like to delay it any way I can. Jacko said, unlike years gone by, Storm do look beatable, though. Yeah, they don't look unbeatable. They look like a team to beat, but they do look beatable. if you come in with the right mindset and like attack them in the right way. So yeah, they're not as invincible as they once were, but they're still one of the top teams around. Dragons, second week in a row, mate. I've had to give them props, and I don't like it. Credit where credit's due. They were in this match for, I know the scoreline is massive now, but for that first hour, it was neck and neck. Their attack looked deadly at times, and they seemed up for the challenge. But then, when the Storm changed gears with that final 20, they were unable to match them, and they fell away. If they can adjust and deliver what they delivered in the first 60 for 80, they could upset a few sides. I want them to do more of the last 20 for 80 so they can get my spoon. But I think you'd be a brave man putting money on them to be a spoon right now. I think they're just too competitive at the moment. They might lose, but when you've got what the Cowboys are delivering at the moment and the Titans can't even trip into a win. I think they're going to go well above. Suafalongu was top fantasy scorer with 80. Who'd you go with?
Yeah, it's hard to ignore. His last 20 minutes really took the game away, so I went with him.
I went with him too. First hat trick rule for 2026.
Yeah, true.
So had to go with him. He got the hat trick, and just looked electric. Next game on Saturday, Panthers defeating the Sharks 26-6.
Yep. For the Panthers, Brian To'o, Tommy Jenkins had 2, and Nathan Cleary. And for the Sharks, just the 1 for Sione Katoa.
Another vintage performance from the Panthers. They controlled the match from start to finish with stern defense and field position with a nice kicking display from Cleary. They refused to give the Sharks any chances and were patient when they had the ball. Just rinse and repeat what we've seen from the Panthers for years. Overtime, the pressure started to show and the Panthers pounced. Panthers of old appear to be back. Unfortunately, we had that 1 year where it looked like they were on the way to falling apart, and now they've woken up, and they're I still think there's weaknesses in there that a bit like the Storm, where they're not going to go through undefeated or anything like that, but they're a good team right now. Your thoughts on the Panthers?
Just very clinical. They look back to their intimidating best already. Even last week when they weren't they weren't in top gear, they were still 26 points too good away from home against the last year's premiers, They look like they're playing with a real chip on their shoulder after the way they started last year. They don't want to make that same mistake again. And, it looks like they have their ruthlessness back. So, scary stuff. Sharks were very good after round 1, and they just made it look like light work.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Sharks?
I don't know if maybe last week against the Titans, it came a bit too easy for them, maybe, which is not the ideal preparation you want for taking on the Panthers. The Panthers give you a much more stern test in every facet of the game. So, I guess like the Broncos last week, it's very similar. They just had the life squeezed out of them by the Panthers. They didn't give the Sharks an inch, and that's what it is. That's what happens.
Yeah, the Sharks looked almost polar opposites to the Sharks we saw last week. They struggled to break down the Panthers' defense and looked out of ideas when they had the ball in hand, when they managed to hold on to the ball. Defensively, they just got outplayed with the Panthers easily creating holes in their line. Still early days in 2026, and I know you had big raps on them for this year, but that flat track bully tag continues to stick with this team. If you're not a top 8 side, they're going to put you to the sword. If you're a top 8 side, they're going to get in trouble. Which, I know they want to get rid of that tag as soon as possible, but they need to start winning some games that actually matter. Biggest score of the round in fantasy, mate. Nathan Cleary, 92 points.
And anyone who captained him got a good score. Yeah, I went Cleary.
Yeah, I went with Cleary too. Been great. He's usually a slow starter. He usually eases into the season and but he's just hit the ground running. So yeah, full credit to the Panthers. Unfortunately, makes it tougher for everyone else. First game on Sunday, Knights defeating the Seagulls 36-16.
Yep, for the Seagulls, Jamal Fogarty, Tom Trebojevic, and Olukawatu. For the Knights, Greg Marju, Dom Young had 2, Caleb Ponga, Fletcher Hunt, Tyson Frizzell.
Yeah, the Knights looked good in the first half. Forwards were up for the contest, and the backs found plenty of space to attack the Manly line. They looked set to run away with it, but then disaster struck with Ponga and Brown going off hurt. This saw the attack kind of derail, but the damage was done in the first half to hold on. But these injuries could have massive complications or implications, I should say, on their campaign going forward. But yeah, 5 tries in the first half, only 1 in the second. But yeah, you're not relying on Dylan Brown and Caleb Ponga to be your defensive powerhouses. So the defensive side of the game, they were able to keep intact. But yeah, great. Another impressive performance from them after what was such a shit year last year. Your thoughts on the Knights?
Yeah, I thought it was a very impressive performance against Manly at Brookvale too, which, normally that's a tough task for most visiting teams. And yeah, they showed more good signs again. They looked like a dangerous attacking team. The result's definitely soured by the injuries out of this one. That, like you said, Brad, could potentially hurt them. They have this weekend the Waz coming to town who are in red hot form, so it's a big ask, but they do look good and they look like they're responding to new coaching regime, etc. So good signs. It's just, you feel really sorry for them losing 2 of their money men.
Yeah, and your thoughts on Manly?
Really, really poor at home. You don't expect to see them lose too often at Brookvale, and that's 2 in a row now. And they seem to have regressed from the previous week. They didn't get better; they got worse. Kind of much like the Cowboys, looked pretty lost for ideas or lacking respect for the coach or the game plan. I don't know, but a hint of maybe coach losing changing room. Pure speculation, but that's just what it looked like to me. They did look good the week before against the Raiders in the first half when everything was going their way, but other than that, they haven't looked too good from then on.
Yeah, they were terrible here. Too error prone, too ill disciplined. Had a real opportunity to claw this game back when the Knights had those injuries. Admittedly, it was halftime, it was 30-10. It was going to be a tough way to fight back. But you think, knowing that their 2 best players are off the field, it was a real opportunity. But yeah, they just couldn't do anything. I haven't seen them play that poorly at home in a while. And yeah, definitely looked to be another team on the verge of finding a new coach. We'll be sitting on the edge of our seat hoping our prediction comes right and it's not a Thibault sacked before Payton, but it feels like both of them are out. And Jacko agreed, said Manly were dreadful. Yeah, it was terrible. Even that one where Ruben Garrick, he scorched up the field and like really tide-turning type situation. No dummy half, lost the ball because no one was running with him. It's those little things there that you're like, there's no harmony in this club at the moment. You go to like a Tigers where, a guy makes a break, everybody's with him and things like that. How even the Raiders in the poor conditions where they were slipping over, they'd make a break and they always had a support player there. The fact they had no one supporting him.
No one pushing.
Yeah, especially when you got a guy like Saab, who's one of the fastest people on the planet, he can keep up with Garrick. It's not like it was Saab breaking away and no one could keep up. I don't get it. But yeah, Tom Trebojevic ended up fantasy top scorer with 57 points. Who'd you go with?
I went KP before going off because he's looking gun. And yeah, it just sucks. Don't care for this week, but sucks for the Knights because yeah, they're looking like they had something cooking. Yeah. And he looked to be central to it.
Yeah, I went with Trey Mooney.
Also very good.
Yeah, good I thought he was great there. He's getting the opportunities he really wanted in Canberra now that he's over in Newcastle, and he's just reaping the rewards of his hard work. He's putting it in there, and I think we talked about it in a preview, saying like, I'm not sure how he's going to go being like brought straight in to be like a key member of a key alpha dog of the forward pack when he's young and inexperienced. But yeah, he's just been doing it so well. Very happy with him there. And that takes us to the last game, mate. The game that I thought was going to be a triathlon and really exciting was boring and we go to sleep. It was crap. Dolphins sneaking in and beating the Titans 18-14.
3 tries to 2 for the Finns. Kulikifu Finifuyaki, Jake Avarillo, and Hemiso Tabuai-Fidow. For the Titans, Jojo Fafita and Cooper Bai.
Yeah, Dolphins dodged a bullet here. They couldn't hold on to the ball, and the potent attack we're used to seeing was missing, bar a few brief glimpses. Not a victory they're going to fondly remember, but credit to them for snapping out of their funk and securing the win in the final 10 minutes. They just need to find consistency and improve the defensive structure, as the Titans' tries were pretty soft. Especially Cooper Bai's one. Yeah. They had a guy just lying on the ground.
It was so soft.
I don't know how he would have been able to look at his teammates where he was just lying on the ground and not getting up on the goal line D. You don't lie down.
It was just a simple inside cut from the dummy half, and the C's just parted.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, that's been one of their issues. They can score 1 million points, but they can't defend. But yeah, and JC gave up watching the last game. It was boring as hell. Yeah, unfortunately, we have to watch it so we can talk about it. It's horrible. It got second screen, though, I'll admit. I started playing PlayStation and watching it on my laptop because I was like, I can't. But your thoughts on the Dolphins?
I thought it was a lucky escape in a very tough game to watch, as we've said. I think the Finns look very much off the pace from the level I thought I'd be seeing from them. I expected to be seeing a lot of tries, a lot of flamboyance. It's not quite come to fruition yet. But, they had enough star power and key moments to jag the result here. But I thought they were below par.
Yeah. And your thoughts on the Titans?
I thought they were definitely better from where they were the week before, and probably the better team for a lot of this one. It's just their inability to lock away results. Again, doesn't look like it's changed this year. You know, they're a team that habitually loses, in spite of all the star power they look to have in their team. So, might be more of the same this year.
Yeah, I feel for the Titans here. It felt like they were the better side on the night, but they just didn't make enough of their chances. And when they got into good attacking positions, they struggled to convert them into points. And it looked like they switched off when they thought that the game was in the bag, and they tripped over the finish line. Need to learn to dig deep and close out games, like you said. This was all in the taking, and then they just let the Dolphins come back. Crazy, but yeah, feel for them though. I wanted to see them get the win, but I was happy the Dolphins did because it helped my tips. So Hammer was the top point scorer, 67 points in fantasy. Who'd you pick as your player of the game?
Hammer. He was one of those guys that came up with the key moment to get the win.
Yeah, I went with him too. There was a few moments where he was ready to go on the right-hand side and they passed to the left, and you saw him visibly frustrated that they weren't sending the ball his way. And then when they finally did, he scored. So, there weren't too many people that you could even commend on that performance, to be honest.
But wasn't that kind of game.
No. So that was the round, mate. So we'll bring up, when Brad remembers how to do it properly, the ladder. Whoa. Brad just doesn't touch it. I'll let you do the top 8, mate.
Yeah, righto. Storm number 1, Waz number 2, Panthers 3, Knights 4, Tigers 5th, Bulldogs 6th, Sharks 7th, Rabbits 8th. Couple teams in there have had a bye already, but that's how it is after round 2.
Yeah, and then the rest, we've got the Dolphins at 9th, Roosters 10th, Raiders 11th, Eels 12th, Seagulls 13th, Broncos, Dragons 14th, Broncos 15th, Cowboys 16th, Titans 17th. Mate, Dragons are still wooden spoon contenders right now with 0 points. So I still have a chance. But a few surprises in there. I didn't expect the Warriors to be where they are right now. Tigers as well. Tigers I knew would be in the 8 because they had a bye. But and Broncos obviously being at the bottom without a win yet is a surprise. But any surprises for you?
Yeah, definitely. Broncos being where they are, us being where we are. I mean, I expect us to be strong, but that's the kind of start you can only dream of.
Yeah. All right, so that's the ladder. We'll go to our tipping comp now. And Jacko said Hannah's already aged 10 years. Yeah, I feel for him. It's a hell of a job to get as your first gig. So after round 2, we still got Hammer at the top, mate. Got 6 out of 8. Few people got 6s. Bjorn's not here tonight, but that's because he knows he only got 3. But so Hammer is first, Punish is second, your boy Max 3rd, Miss Hammer, Hammer's partner, she's 4th, Simon's 5th, you're 6th, Roscoe 7th, Om 8th, Evelyn 9th, MB Sports Fan 10th, Boy from SMB is 11th, Yerk 12th, Princess Cahill is 13th, ACT Hellcat is 14th, and then Bjorn dead last. So
what's going on, Brad?
It's still close. I'm 2 off the top. Shut it. I've just been consistent, mate. 5 from 8, 2 weeks in a row.
Keeping those jokers up his sleeve.
Yeah. Then we'll go to where it actually matters, mate. Fantasy. So as I explained to everyone, we're actually in a comp together. So rather than doing our overall standings, I'm just doing our standings in our league that we're in. So I got maybe my highest score I've ever had, 1,092, which unbelievably still only kept me at 2nd place in the comp you set up. And you got 900, mate, sitting at 6th. 6 out of 6 teams, right? There's only 6 of us. I'm sure you did last.
Hey,
is it 6?
Hey, no, it's 8. It's 8. Don't tell me like that, mate. I'm a Wild supporter. We don't get spoons.
Believe it or not, our teams are pretty similar despite you being so rubbish. But
a couple of key differences there.
Yeah, you don't have clear. But we're both, Reece Walsh is killing us. And I've got Far Longer, which helped. And as I told you before we went on, Kurt Capewell was my starting centre. I couldn't change him out before the game because it happened just before kickoff. So I got stuck with him and I was able to jangle my reserves to actually benefit me in a way that was better than if Capewell had actually played. So, I feel like I've got your comp in the bag, mate. But we'll see what happens. If I usually shit the bed at halfway through the year. All right, so we'll go into questions, mate. I'll go with my question first, and then we'll go with yours. So my question to you was, I actually cheated. It was the one I had for you last week, but you no showed. There's been a few surprising teams in the first 2 rounds, but which team has surprised you the most, with either a positive or a negative way?
There's definitely a couple where we kind of already just
talked about it.
Talking about the latter, but the best surprise has been the Warriors over the first 2 rounds for sure. Both games been at home and sellouts and great atmosphere. So it's great we're getting that feeling of it being a cauldron again, and a place I think teams aren't going to want to like to come to. But how clinical we've been and how we've put scores on very highly rated teams. I think before the season started, I think if we're being completely honest, when we looked at the draw, we kind of thought, oh, without Mitch Barnett, without Luke Metcalf, it's going to be a tough start to the year. Hopefully we can work our way back into things. No, we've come out flying. So I think that's been the best surprise. The biggest surprise, but in the best possible way.
Yeah, I'm the same. Mine's Warriors. I did my season preview and I was looking like the season's all going to be about pre-Metcalf, post-Metcalf. Like if we can survive till we get Metcalf back, we might be okay. Scoring 40 points 2 games in a row. When I think we scored 40 points once last year. In that game against the Sharks. It's been the best surprise. As long as they keep it up, we don't want to see them, win the first 2 and then go on like a massive losing streak or something. So all touching wood again. But that's what I would go with. But your question for me.
Okay, so I thought the way Tane came on the weekend, Tane Tuapiki, he looked outstanding. On form and preference, who would you be selecting in your back 5 for the Wars? Because there are some headaches starting to pop up. Well, good headaches. So we spoke about this too. Name your back 5 on form and preference. I guess you could go with what we have available now for selection, and then do one if everyone's available.
What they have right now is what I would use for who's available. So Tuapiki at fullback, Dallin and Roger on the wings, Leotawa and Pompey in the centres. That's how I would have it. If everyone was healthy, I would have Tuapiki at fullback. I'd have Roger and AKP on my wings, and I would have Pompey and Chance as my centres.
Wow.
So Dallin and Leotawa would be making our New South Wales Cup team amazing.
And those guys were actually very good on the weekend.
They were. Before you give me yours, Jacko just said survive until Met's back. We can more than survive. Yeah, that's what I said in my preseason review. So before we played, I think we're going to be way better than surviving. Mets ain't even going to get back in the team, guys. It's going to be playing 7 for New South Wales Cup.
There's that discussion.
No.
If he carries this on for another 3-4 weeks,
I think
available.
If it was me, if he does play if Tana plays how we played the first 2 rounds for the next 4, when Metcalf comes back, Metcalf's my 6.
Arguably, Metcalf's a better 6 than he is a 7.
I think he is a better 6 and 7, but he was showing us what he could do at 7 last year. But I think he might not be happy with that, but I think it's a bit like the Tigers situation. What's best for the team is what's going to work. I think the team would look stronger with those 2 together, which is how I had it last year before the season started. They were going to be my halves if everything was fit. But but you're 5, mate.
Tane fullback, I got to fit him somehow. I think he's the kind of fullback that as the game leans towards nowadays with the way it's played, 6 against, etc.
Yeah.
So I got to fit him in. Roger and Dallin on the wing. I'm keeping Dallin. He's shown me enough, I think, and I think it looks like he's sort of been really working on his defensive alignment as well, and his work sort of staying connected with his centre.
Yeah, I think having AKP has helped. I think the fact that he knows there's a guy that could take his spot, he has to play well, otherwise he will lose it.
Yeah. So Roger and Dallin, still my wings. The centres is the hard one for me because Leotawa has a big ceiling and wouldn't want to lose him, but I think also Pompey's done nothing to lose his spot, and having Chan's experience, I just don't want to cast Chan's away completely. I think he offers too much. So Pompey, Chan's, that's it.
Yeah.
That's even if everyone are available.
Yeah, it's too hard because there's so many players that deserve a spot, but you can't fit them all. And Pompey, I had my fair share of criticism about him. He's the last two, maybe even 3 years, he's been the best on form centre at the club. So you can't drop him. He's been like week in, week out. He's not going to, break the world apart with a amazing attacking display or anything like that. But you know what you're going to get from him, and he always delivers. And Jack, we still keep seeing K fullback. Yeah. This is what we would pick 100% when everyone's healthy again. Tane Tuapiki will be back on the bench and Chance will be back because that's Webby's game plan and what he likes. Which unfortunately is also why I have it in the back of my head as soon as Metcalf's available, Tanner Boyd's playing New South Wales Cup. I feel like Webby is going to go, I don't care how well he's playing. This is my team. This is what I was planning for. Hope I'm wrong there, but we'll see. But speaking of that, we'll move into round 3, mate. The Knights Warriors. Warriors going to Oz for the first time this season. We'll bring up the team list. If you want to give us the Warriors lineup.
For sure. The Warriors lineup like this. Tane Tuapiki at fullback. Wings, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Centres, Ali Leotawa, Adam Pompey. The halves, Luke Hansen gets a debut. Awesome. We hadn't had a chance to speak about it yet. That's a nice feel-good story here. Tanner Boyd, hopefully he carries on what he's been doing. Front row, James Fisher-Harris, Wade Egan, Jackson Ford. Going great guns. Second row, Lecker gets another start. Jakey Laban on the other side. Aaron Clark at lock. Interchange bench, Sam Healy, Dimitri Vaiamonga, Tanisdale Smith, Morata Niokore, Morgan Gannon, and Lofi Khan Pereira as the 20. Yeah,
it's not a bad team considering the outs we had this week. I'm happy enough with that team. The big one that you didn't talk about there is number 23, Mitch Barnett.
Oh, and Mitch Barnett.
Mitch Barnett named on the extended, which I have a feeling he's going to come in. It's tough, but I think if he comes in, Tanisdale Smith will be the one that gets booted out. It's just Tanner's coming on as a forward, as a prop, so it makes sense. Out of the two that are playing in the middle, I think they're going to keep Dimitrik because I guess
no chance Barnett gets used as an edge.
Maybe, and so he would come in instead of Nakora.
I mean, maybe. Capewell, he's more than capable of playing edge. That's his actual original position.
Yeah,
but he's more of a front rower nowadays.
We don't know. It's the Webby special. When you see them name a guy that's been injured on the extended, you kind of know that they're probably going to come in. And yeah, Jet Cleary named. I don't see Jet coming in. He might. Yeah. They might potentially put him on those extra 2 spots on the extended bench, maybe as a game day thing. Oh, yeah. And Jacko just said Webster was on TV3 tonight and said Barnett plays if he passes training run tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So if he passes that, he's playing. So, yeah. Will be interesting. It'd be sad for Tanner Smith. I think he's been doing well if he's the one that gets outed. But someone was always going to lose their spot once Barnett was available. So, yeah. I'm happy enough with that team. Let's go on to the Knights. Fletcher Hunt at fullback, Dominic Young, Greg Marju on the wings, Dane Gagai, Bradman Best in the centres. Fletcher Sharp returns from his injury into halves. Perfect timing for him to come back. Sandon Smith is in at halfback. Front row, we've got Jacob Saifidi, Phoenix Crossland, and Trey Mooney. Second row, we've got Dylan Lucas, Jermaine McEwen. And then lock, we've got Tyson Frizzell. Interchange, we've got Thomas Kant, Matt Croker, Pasami Solo, Francis Manuleilua, Tyson Gamble. Was that close enough, Brad?
Pretty good, bro.
Pretty good. And then 19, Harrison Graham. And Jacko said, cheers, guys, have to go. Good to see you again, mate. See you next week.
Yes, Jacko.
Yeah, despite those massive outs of Dylan Brown and Kalen Ponga, I think this is still a team you can't sleep on.
Yeah.
That back five is dangerous enough. And Sanders Smith and Fletcher Sharp ain't no slouches in the halves department. So, yeah, and the pack's been good. I think our pack beats them. I think it's a better pack, but I think this game's going to be a lot closer than what a lot of us Warriors fans have been talking on social media, myself included. After those outs, going easy win. This will still be tough. It's always tough playing in Newcastle too. So I'm still going with the Warriors here, but yeah, I don't. But then I thought it's going to be. I thought it was going to be close last week, and I was wrong there. So who knows? Who are you picking?
I'm backing the Warriors as well. Yeah, you can't get too carried away. You can't expect to see 40 plus every week.
Yeah.
And it's our first test away from home. You're right, the Knights do still have, on paper, a team with plenty of weapons. So I expect to have to fight for it, but I'm backing us in to win.
Nice, yeah. So two of us going for that. Amantis, before we move on, said, have we got the best 8 to 19 in the NRL?
Can't be far off.
I think it would be I'm biased, but it'd be a good argument. I think we've got a pretty good pack this year. And yeah, I think Sam Healy's a perfect 14 in the modern game. So yeah, I think there'd be good arguments for it. But we'll move on, mate, to the rest of the fixtures. It's a multicultural round, which I forgot to mention. But kicking off on Thursday, mate, Raiders versus Bulldogs at home. Who you got?
Raiders home ground tip.
Yeah, I've gone Raiders too. I was really iffy on it, but hometown advantage, it's hard to beat in them in Canberra. Friday, we got Roosters, Panthers. I've gone with Panthers.
Me too.
Yep. Then we've got second game on Friday, Storm, Broncos. I've gone Storm. This will be the one the Broncos win, you watch. But yeah, I've gone with the Storm.
No, I've gone Storm as well, Amy Park. But yeah, I think the Broncos will give some resistance given what they've served up the first 2 rounds. They're going to be hungry to show something.
Yeah. Then next up, we've got Knights versus Warriors. We've both gone with Warriors. Fingers crossed we get that right. Then next game on Saturday, Sharks, Dolphins. I've gone with the Sharks purely because it's at home.
Yeah.
All right. Then Saturday, final game, Rabbits, Tigers. I've gone with the Rabbits. Also home. I was really tight on this one. I think the Tigers could do it. But
I've gone for the upset. Yeah. I'll go the other way.
Tigers for you. Then first game on Sunday, we've got Eels, Dragons. I've gone Eels because no one picks the Dragons.
Yep, Eels.
Yep. And then the last game of the round, the NRL love doing this. They give us the worst game to end, mate. Cowboys, Titans. I've gone with Cowboys at home.
That's a horrible game. Yeah. I'll go the other way then.
Yeah. I can see arguments both ways. So, Yeah, but don't trust our picks because my picks have been garbage. Anything else you want to add for everyone before we let them go, mate?
Is that it? It's not bad
That's
for a
it.
full 8-game review.
Yeah, mate. I showed last week how it's done, where it was done in like 45 minutes. Speed running, like doing a speech in front of your school classmate, where you go through a half an hour speech in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No,
I'm good, man. Yeah, good to be back anyway.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on the Standoff with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on rugby league, tune into our show next Wednesday at 8 p.m. here on Facebook or YouTube or at your convenience on iHeartRadio or Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Thanks so much for joining us again, and we'll see you next week. Good night.